Hi there. I'm Greg Topping. I'm the Executive Director of United in Crisis for Kansas City. United in Crisis is a church network in the greater Kansas City area that will equip, empower, and mobilize the body of Christ to walk with those affected by crisis to meet their physical, emotional, and spiritual needs. Major crisis doesn't happen every day in Kansas City, but since the 1900s, the number of natural disasters is on the rise. From 1980 to 1989, there were 29 catastrophic events recorded worldwide. And in the year 2023 alone, there have been 28. That is a 100% increase over a 10-year period to 1-year period. That's how fast they're increasing. Since the beginning of the 1900s, there have been 11 major disasters in the greater Kansas City area, and 6 of those in the last 30 years, including the 2020 COVID pandemic. That event itself affected human beings worldwide. Every year in the greater KC area, we experience between 250 to 300 disaster events, apartment fires, small fires, windstorms. These kind of things impact between 800 to 1,000 families. UICKC will partner with local relief agencies, the city officials, to assist these families by providing emotional, spiritual, and physical support through our trained church members. As UICKC grows, our hope is to also assist with other crises, such as the foster families, homeless, and more. This picture represents a tornado in Oklahoma. This is a crisis. When a crisis happens, survivors are faced with a big question. Why would a loving God do this to me? God and His goodness, they're put on trial. The parable of the Good Samaritan, which is in context of crisis, Jesus calls the Samaritan good and says, go do likewise, to love your neighbor. The church has an opportunity to step in and be that Good Samaritan. Since the first century, the church has been replaced as the Good Samaritan in our communities by our government. That's how our communities see it. They look to the government to be the ones who supply needs. The first century church, described in the book of Acts, talks about sharing their goods and no one lacking. In the 19th century, the church was owning and running the charitable organizations. In New York alone, they were running over 1,200 of the charitable organizations. Our solution: building a Christian-centered crisis relief church network that works together with local Christian businesses and ministries so trained and equipped Christians can respond quickly to meet the emotional, spiritual, and physical needs of those impacted by crisis. We know this works because in 2005, the Lord gave a simple, clear plan that created the Austin Disaster Relief Network. Every church on the network is autonomous. We create opportunities for the church to activate and collaborate, connect resources with the needs, collaborate between the local church, the local government, and crisis relief agencies. A united church becomes a key asset for the local government. The church becomes relevant and a hero again to the community, and it creates a platform to share the good news. The crisis response model is based on 5 scriptures. Isaiah 56:7. Everything we do is based on a foundation of prayer. It is the cornerstone of everything we build from. John 17:21. Unity in the church as the Father and Son are one. We will work together as one unit. Ephesians 4:11 through 13. Raising up everyone in their calling to unify the body of Christ. Luke 10:25 through 37. The actions of the Good Samaritan. He was the example of the Father. By helping this man physically, emotionally, and spiritually, he met the need, he paid for care, and then he went back to make sure he was okay. And there was no debt. From the beginning of the crisis to the end of the crisis, he was there for this man. That's why the Lord calls him a Good Samaritan. Matthew 28:18 to 19. Jesus sends his disciples to do the work of going after the lost and baptizing. What good does it do a man to get his home back if his internal home is still lost? We want to shepherd the hurting back to the fullness in all ways. Our plan is simple. We have divided the greater Kansas City area into sectors. Each sector will have a sector leader. Every church in that sector will also assign a leader known as a crisis coordinator. Then each church will raise up a core team to begin to get equipped. The infrastructure within the church. There's church leadership, church coordinator, crisis response core team, crisis relief shepherds. This graph shows you a circle of care that surrounds the survivor, with a community, with the church, and the Good Samaritans. Balance is the key. Too many requests and not enough volunteers is out of balance. We need a balance of churches with trained volunteers and a team of partners who can answer the requests and the needs of the network. We must work together to build Christ-like community. This is the simple flow. You'll have a family in need, and they'll send the request to UICKC. We will put that in the care portal system to inform the churches of what the need is. It's up to the crisis coordinator then to send out a Samaritan or a Good Shepherd to help the family. We know the system works. In Austin, with the Austin Disaster Relief Network, they have responded for the last 14 years with amazing testimonies. 260 plus disasters, assisted over 400,000 survivors, shepherded 3,800 plus families, given away nearly $22 million in relief, funded the repairs of an estimated 475 homes, and over 22,000 in training attendants. In Greater Kansas City, we need to build our network to help those who are already being impacted by 300 plus disasters each year, over 1,000 families affected. We need this network to be prepared for not if a big disaster comes, but when it comes. UICKC volunteers are all background checked, and they are shirted and badged. We do this to let the government agencies know that we are a safe group who they can trust. Is your church ready to respond to a major crisis in your community? The next step's easy. Join the network. Then we're going to come and host a new voluntary orientation basic training with you. Then you're going to find your crisis coordinator and begin to build your core team. Then once trained, you will be able to assist families impacted by crisis in your community. Thank you for watching. I look forward to working with you in the network. So go now to uickc.org and click on Join the Network to begin.